Tammy E with the March-April update on my writing. Not any writing, but lots of groundwork for research. I have gone on Ancestry and done a little more deep digging into my family's ancestry, so I'm working on that, which is a framework for the families that I'm going to be dealing with in my series that I'm trying to create. That will go from probably about 1840, 1820, I'm thinking. 1820, I'm going to just say 1820s for right now. It could be 40s until present day. But the present day may, I don't know, we'll see. Anyway, that'll be like last on the list of, and yeah, I don't know. That won't be, there'll be books published before that happens. The biggest thing that I've been doing is organizing in my mind what I'm going to do next with outlining. And I have a notebook set aside. I put the characters that I have so far put aside in there. One reason why I did not continue with this novel this month is I am in a quandary. The people that it's based on are grandparents of people that just had a tragedy in their family. And I'm kind of getting over that because I was connected a little bit to my mother's cousins, one particular family, and I still am in contact with the girl that is my age in that family. They were a large family, and one of the siblings died, and I remember her as a baby. And it's just not a time that I can write about that because it's not a real positive light for their family particularly, or mine in some ways. But yeah, and there are going to be two books that kind of deal with that as kind of in a topic, an inward topic, and it kind of runs along with some themes from present day and some things that came up in my family this past month, which some of them were my fault. And so I've been kind of coming to terms with that. There's one thing that something I did caused pain to my daughter, and I'm real upset about it, and it shouldn't have, but it did. And we're good. It's just a lot of drama in my own family right now. And I can't go into it here, and I won't ever go into it, really, to tell you the truth. But anyway, I'm not even sure I can fictionalize it, so I don't know that it will even be in a fiction at any point, at least not in my lifetime. Might be a memoir that I write that somebody can read and decide what to do later, but I don't even know if I'll do that because I'm really going to work on this series and a series of fiction. And so that's really what I've been dedicating free time that I've had to, along with some plans for sewing, which I would like to, in my perfect world, I would be wearing sort of period dress as I'm writing these to get really immersed in the time as I write. And that's what my kind of thing is, or at least, I'd read snippets in costume or something. So I'm thinking of that in my little noodle, which is, obviously too busy and too ridiculous, but that's the way it is. Anyway, but I'm going to start with like this book, this update is series, in the series is I'm talking about beginnings of research. And so like I said, my ancestry, to kind of get a feel of what some people's life was like. And many of the people in my family were farmers. And so I have started listening to an audiobook on Wisconsin farming and how the dairy cattle industry actually helped make the land in Wisconsin more fertile for growing crops. So yeah, animals can be good for the planet too. Who knew? Anyway, so, yeah, so I was listening to that. And I fell asleep listening to it on an audiobook. I could get a physical book of this particular book, which I'm thinking about doing because it's good enough that I might like to, but I'll have to look and see if I can. I can't remember if that one was not one that wasn't available that way. Anyway, I'm going to continue listening to that in the next month and immersing that. I've got to, you know, take some notes, I think. I have to listen to those three. I'll probably have to listen to it again or something. That's why maybe I'll get a physical book of it, but we'll see. Lots of expenses going on right now that I don't really want to necessarily buy a book. And I do need to get a new computer one of these days. That's another reason why I'm kind of neglecting to. But I did manage to get something about the Grange, because I remember my grandfather had some papers that I played with, and he was a member of the Grange. And it was, yeah, I remember playing with this notebook from the Grange. Anyway, it says 1860 to 1947. My grandfather stopped farming in 49, I believe it is, from what I can gather. So, anyway, so it had this nice little black mark because it had been a library book at one time. I'm hoping it is a retired library book because I certainly wouldn't want to be stealing a book. But I assume it was a retired library book that I purchased off of Amazon. And what I did is I didn't like the black mark and having it look like a library book on my shelf. So I did this blue, and I missed this black mark up here. So I'm going to do that same thing up here. And then I'm going to do a little stenciling, little decoration there too. So I'm looking forward to, you know, doing that. And so that's going to be fun. And this is really interesting. It's a history book. It has people connected. I just flipped through and it talked about war gardens. I mean, war gardens. So there's lots of stuff that one could put, you know, good research. So I'm looking forward to reading more about that. My husband picked it up and was looking at it, and he didn't even know about the Grange. And he helped his dad on his dad started farming. Like, this is I don't know that it was around or popular. I have to learn more about the history of the Grange. And my father-in-law started farming in like 46, so just as it was ending. So he wouldn't know, even though he farmed and helped his father finish farming during the time he was getting his degree. So I also decided I wanted a history of Wisconsin. I know a lot about the history of Wisconsin because I used to teach it, because I was a 4th grade teacher, and I was kind of helping to develop curriculum at that time, I think, for the district with that, come to think of it, but I don't remember. I mean, it's over 10 years ago, and yeah, lots of interesting stuff that I don't want to bore you with. It was all about how to connect social studies to literacy, you know, and I was a literacy teacher. I was a reading specialist, so that was my thing. Anyway, and it was about the time I was getting my master's degree, so, you know, all that kind of stuff. Anyway, I even think I may have owned this, probably because I do background information, but a copy of this, but anyway. So I have this to take a look at. Agriculture in the Midwest, 1815 to 1900. So just a general overview of what agriculture was like in this area of the country. Then I also wanted to know more about Germans in Wisconsin. I may have showed you this one last month. I have started reading this one. Looking forward to reading more about that. And as there's going to one of my ancestors, actually, I found 2 of my ancestors were in the Civil War. And I believe for the Union, and they were Germans, German immigrant families, excuse me, or from, you know, and they fought in the Civil War for the Union. I know one grandfather was at Gettysburg, and there was a big, you know, write-up about him. Anyway, this one has the letters they wrote home, Germans in the Civil War. So this was really kind of an interesting one. I'm looking forward to looking at that. I have to do a little more editing than I thought. As I was putting things together, I realized that I forgot to share a few other books I had on the Civil War. This one is called Obscure Stories of the Civil War. Strange and Obscure Stories of the Civil War, so that might be fun. This one is called The History of the Civil War. And then this one is The First World War, A Complete History. So this one is a history of the First World War. And again, let's see, I don't know. So this had a nice cover on it and so on, very nice. So anyway, so I have those books as well. My grandfather was not in World War I. He farmed, and they needed farms, and he was the only son in the family. So he did not go to World War I. He was needed here on the home front farming. Plus, he was a German family. I don't think his parents were even immigrants. Maybe, yeah, I don't think so. I have to go back and look. But yeah, he definitely was born in the United States, but they were German speaking. So was my and you know, in this area of Wisconsin, they stayed to that heritage and did speak German in their families. But even though, you know, my grandmother was born in the United States, her father had immigrated from Germany when he was 5, you know, so yeah. Anyway, so I'm going to look at this history of World War I, which is a nice pictograph kind of history, little short articles. This series has that. I also got, you probably saw a month or two ago, the World War II one. So I have the World War I one as well. So that's kind of neat to have kind of a couple in my collection. They'll live on my bookshelves probably the rest of my life until, you know, whenever. And yeah. Anyway, which my bookshelf needs to be brought into this area. I don't know, there's a lot. It's out in the garage right now. I would like my bookshelves up here, but it'll be a while. My grandson likes to take, yeah, it would not work real well right now, probably. And then Daily Life in the United States, 1920 to 1940, which kind of filters into the book that I'm writing, but although it's the early 40s. So it's going to be nice to have this background on what daily life was like in the United States. So I've been working on research mostly. That's what you do in historical fiction. That's important to have that basis. If you don't have that background, then it's not as good. It's just good to have a little background and some references to look at. Besides Google, because you can't rely everything on Google, you know. Anyway, you can only rely a little bit on what you read, a little bit on what you Google, and, you know, a little bit what you know in life, and you have to kind of discern. So anyway, and the novel process is a part of discerning things, especially in terms of historical fiction, I do believe. Anyway, I'm not sure, you know, we write what we know, and what I know is what I've been told about my family, and that was like a big part of what went on in my little noodle when I was a young girl. And so I'm the person that people kind of go to for family stories and information. In fact, my cousin, when her sister died, my cousin reached out to me and had a photo of her grandmother, no, actually her uncle, and was wondering if these women were her grandmother's sisters. Well, 2 of them were, and 2 of them were me at 14 and my mother at like 40 something. So I was able to tell them, you know, that her uncle had visited, and, you know, this was in my great aunt's apartment, and, you know, I explained who was who. And, probably more than what they wanted to know. So, and she's done that before, reached out to me about certain pictures that she's found and was trying to label and figure out too. So anyway, that is the deal. And yeah. Anyway, so I'm hoping that if my week goes the way I want it to go, I'll be able to write a little bit, and I might even do an update next week if I do. If I don't, you know, it didn't go as well as I had hoped. And I just didn't get as motivated as I had hoped, or wasn't able to do the things I had hoped for whatever reason. I've been having a lot of headaches and stuff too, and that's another part of it, neck aches and stuff. So I just have not been feeling the greatest, and been working on my sleep machine stuff, and yeah. So anyway, I'm sorry to disappoint you that there isn't a great deal of actual writing having been accomplished this month, but a lot of thought has been put into what I hope to write soon. If all the stars align, and if this is what God wants me to do, I will get to it. At this time, doesn't seem like that's what was meant to be, but I'm enjoying the journey, and that's all a part of it. And I hope that if you're writing, you're enjoying your journey. And I'll do some writing into the dark with my book again soon, I hope, maybe even tonight. And if I do, then I'll update you sooner than later. But if I don't see you next week, I'll see you next month for May's, late April and May's journey. I'm thinking I want to do it at the end of the month, because then I can really do a journey of that month. So let's just see if I can do an actual April. If not, I might wait until the 4th week of May and do a May update. I don't know. Anyway, this will come out this Wednesday. And if you like this video, don't forget to put the thumbs up. Please do subscribe to my channel, An Accidental Retiree. I'm a variety channel. I have lots of things that I'm doing. As you can see, I'm working on some gardening too. So there's a lot of distractions right now. And I help take care of my 3-year-old grandson. And whenever my daughter is working, and life is good, but very chaotic. Anyway, I also visit every night just about with my granddaughter who lives on the West Coast. And so that's fun too. And of course I get to visit with my son. So we keep close even though we live far away, and life is pretty good. It could be better, but we make the most of it. What the issues we have aren't necessarily completely of our making. So, you know, life is good. We're just a regular family making it through. Anyway, until next time, bye for now and God bless.